Vayne is probably the first champion that comes to your mind when you think of raw late-game carry potential. In Season 12, Vayne looks stronger than ever, and in this Vayne guide you get everything you need to know in less than 5 minutes. AD carries in general are designed to be scaling champions who eventually overpower tanks in the late game. Vayne, however, takes this concept to the next level, as it is impossible to effectively counter her true damage in extended fights. The champion is a ticking time bomb, and when you play it safe during your early to mid-game power trough, you can completely dominate teamfights later on. Vayne is best paired with support champions who mimic that power curve, such as Soraka, Janna or Zilean. These champions can protect you in lane, so you can safely farm and get your items while also scaling alongside you into the late game. In fact, this strategy is so strong right now that there are no true counters here. If executed correctly, Vayne is just one of the best solo queue carries in the current meta. She is an excellent duelist, so you can easily punish your enemy's mistakes to get a lead, and one of your tools to initiate these duels is Vayne's passive. 30 flat movement speed when running towards enemies is actually a ridiculously high number, and it forces your opponent into this awkward situation where if they try to run, you are essentially hitting them for free. Normally you can just run away from most fights in League of Legends, because every time your opponent attacks you, they need to go through their attack animation, which stops them in place and buys you some extra distance. But 30 movement speed is just so much that it easily makes up for Vayne's attack animation, which means your target will never get away. As if that wasn't bad enough for them, Vayne also comes with a mini dash on her Q. Vayne's tumble is both a mobility spell you can use to gap close or dodge skill shots, and an offensive tool that increases your DPS. However, at the core of Vayne's dueling power is your W. The damage you deal with this passive ability is both ignoring the opponent's armor and growing bigger the more total HP they have. This means it is very difficult for enemy tanks to itemize in a way that lets them survive longer fights against Vayne. The only thing they can really do is try to reduce your attack speed, since Vayne's W is an on-hit effect, but very few items actually come with an attack speed reducing ability. Instead, trying to offensively get into Vayne's face is not a safe strategy either, because she has access to self-peel with her E-spell. Most tanks and bruisers need to get close to apply their crowd control, and between Vayne's knockback on E and tumble on Q, you have plenty of options to avoid that. Now we take all of these strengths and effectively multiply them by 10 with Vayne's ultimate. Getting level 6 with Vayne is actually a huge turning point in any lane phase, because this spell allows Vayne to do everything she already does, just way better and more efficiently. Your passive movement speed gets tripled, allowing you to catch opponents even faster, your tumble gets a stealth effect, allowing you to outplay skill shots even more easily, and your attack damage increases, making your synergies with attack speed even stronger than they already are. What's more, Vayne has perfect synergy with the new Season 12 keystone of Lethal Tempo, and your full rune page is Lethal Tempo, Triumph, Legend Alacrity and Coup de Grace with Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter secondary. Again, maximizing your damage output is done by getting more attack speed, since you want to apply the on-hit true damage from your W and the extra bonus AD from your ultimate as much as possible. The new Lethal Tempo does exactly that, providing ramping attack speed in longer fights, and extended duels are precisely what Vayne wants anyway. The extra range is really the icing on the cake, increasing your target access to ridiculous levels, enabling you to click the subscribe button. Legend Alacrity is picked for the very same reasons, and Triumph, Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter are picked to compensate for not having Legend Bloodline. Vayne's kit and rune page are both packed with damage, so it shouldn't be a surprise that your first item is always Immortal Shield Bow. If the fight goes long enough, Vayne will always win, so your mythic item's job is simply to prevent the enemy from one-shotting you. The only purely offensive item you buy is Ginzo's Rageblade second, but Rageblade is simply too good on Vayne to skip. It is cheap, provides lots of attack speed, and allows you to apply your W true damage even more consistently with its on-hit amplification. Afterwards, you buy Wit's End. This item does it all. It makes it even more difficult for the enemy to one-shot you with its magic resist, which itself further scales with the effective health you gain from shields and lifesteal. Additionally, you get even more attack speed, some AD to go with it, and more on-hit damage to complement Rageblade. Buying more damage on Vayne from this point onwards would simply be a waste, as no one can out-duel you anymore, so your next item is unironically Randuin's Omen. The item hard counters the enemy AD carry, who is more often than not the only player who might come close to your levels of scaling. Its active provides even more self-peel, helping you to deal with assassins and bruisers who somehow manage to get on top of you. Your last item is typically Guardian Angel, giving you further late-game insurance, but if you really need it, you could also buy any other utility item here. Healing reduction, more magic resist, or even Serpent's Fang all come to mind. Obviously, with all that emphasis on kiting in combination with your Q's outplay potential, Vayne is a champion with lots of mechanical depth. To really help you understand Vayne's best practices, I recommend that you watch this more in-depth Vayne analysis by clicking the link on your screen right there.